Got a question for one of my homeboys on YouTube named Rega. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Hopefully that's how you pronounce it, but there you go. There's a message. And basically what he was asking is, how do I make sure that I'm having like the best morning possible? How do I have the most productive morning possible? Now, if you were to have asked me this question a few years back, I would give you a multitude of answers, right? I would give you answers that were based on something I learned within the personal development or self-help world. I'll tell you, wake up at 5 a.m., do this, do that, military style, boom, boom, bop, bop, beep, bop, bada, bop, bam, pow. But now I'm in a place where I'm not only having the most productive mornings ever, but I'm having the most peaceful mornings ever. And they're not these rush, go get it done mornings, yet I get everything that I desire to do within those mornings. So before I even get into this, I have to start by letting it be known that your morning does not start in the morning, which sounds crazy as all heck. It sounds crazy as all get out. How does my morning not start in the morning? It is the morning, therefore. No, your morning starts the night before, right? Every morning starts with what your evening was like. So if you went out and you partied all night and you were drinking, you were smoking, you know, whatever it was, you were laid up with somebody that you don't, whatever activities that you were engaging yourself in are going to be affecting that next morning, right? Your sleep hygiene, quote unquote, is always going to affect the morning after. And so if you do not take care of that aspect, forget about the morning. Just write the whole morning off, right? If you wake up and have that productive, have that energetic, have that vibrant morning, then, kudos to you. I don't know how you're pulling off that miracle, but the body needs what it needs in order for it to get us to the highest level of functionality, in order for us to optimize the way in which we're moving through life, right? So again, I don't have to give credentials because I only got to prove nothing to nobody, but I do want to tell you this is that I wake up and I create. And when I say I create, I write an average of 3,000 words every morning. I, on most mornings, will record 2 to 3 long form videos for YouTube like this, right? And this is all before noon even hits. And I don't wake up at 4 a.m. I don't wake up at 5 a.m. Usually my body wakes me up at like 6:45. But again, this is no alarm clock. This is me waking up because I did what I was supposed to do the night before. Right now, what time is it? It's 8:47. I'm gonna record this, maybe one other video, and I'm done. I'm wrapping it up. I'm getting into my meditation. I'm going to sleep, right? So I want to start you off simple and quote unquote realistic, right? I don't want you to start you off where I am because I've developed myself to this place, but we have to prioritize that night before. We have to make it a priority to get to a place where we are taking care of that essential 8 hours, which is our rest period. Now, some people need less, but most people are going to get, within that 8 hour range. And I've heard this theory, quote unquote. I call it a theory. I don't know. Maybe it's true, but I haven't tested it out. So for me, it's a theory still, which is we just need one cycle of REM, right? So the 8 hours is because most times it takes us a long time to fall asleep. And that's what's actually taking up those 8 hours. So if you're able to get into REM fast, then you're able to get yourself in a good cycle, right? So I don't know if that's true or not, but what I know is I'm usually getting my 8 hours of sleep. And the way I do that is by wrapping my night up by 10. Now you may think to yourself, well, I got a night shift. I got, kids. I got this. I got that. So I got to make time for myself. I'm building a business on the side. You have to think to yourself that those things are not put in your way by somebody else. Nobody has forced you to do a night job in the nighttime. Nobody has forced you to take care of those business matters that late in the evening. And if we're to be honest with ourselves, most of us are pushing into the late nights simply because we are not prioritizing the time that we have throughout the day. We are not utilizing our time efficiently. Now, this ain't no time management type of video. I'm not really into that content because I believe it's what's happening within us that causes the external. And so we have to ask ourselves, why am I not prioritizing the time that I have within the day? And for myself, I came to a point of realizing I didn't believe I was worthy. I didn't believe I was deserving of the goals that I had set out for. I didn't believe I was this person. I didn't have the identity of, this creator who's reaching millions upon millions of people and, and truly living in service to my highest goals and desires in life. Really, if we're to be honest, like the vision that I have for myself, the large scale visions that I have for impacting people across the planet in a very real way, I didn't believe that I was that person yet. I didn't believe I was worthy of that. And so I had to work on that aspect. I had to work on seeing me as somebody who matters, seeing me as somebody who matters enough to impact and to touch people's lives in the way that I now get to, right? Or in the way that I now do, simply. It is all a privilege. Life itself is an honor once you get to a place where you are in service of your gifting, you're in service of your own purpose, right? But that's a video for another time. So we have to first get to a place where we're introspecting about why it is that we're not going to sleep on time. Why is it that I feel like I have to party every night, right? Why am I partying in the first place? I have a video on why I stopped partying and clubbing. And the premise of it is there were intrinsic aspects. I was looking to cover something up. I was looking to mask something that was going on internally, as opposed to taking care of the inner me. I was, becoming my own enemy in essence, which is I was not taking care of my health. And therefore, I was paying the ramifications upon my body and upon the way that I was living, upon the way that I was moving through life. I was literally aging myself at a very young age. And I started to see myself degrade, and I started to see myself breaking down. And I said, I can't do this. This isn't in alignment with who I want to be. And so I had to cut those things out of my life at a very young age, 19, barely 20 years old. I stopped smoking, stopped drinking, stopped partying, all of that. I said, enough is enough. I don't need these things. I've been doing it for 5 years already. Yes, I started young, real, real young. So I basically saw myself at this place where I was at a crossroad. I had a decision to make. Am I going to do what is in service of me or not? And if I can't, or I'm not willing to, then I have to look at why is it that I feel I need these things? Why do I need these coping mechanisms? Why do I need these numbing agents? And once I can be honest about that, then we can now get to the conversation of how do I, execute on my schedule, execute on this, that, and the third, right? So we get to a place where we're finally honest about why it is that we are moving the way that we're moving. Our belief systems about ourselves. How do I see myself? Do I see myself as somebody who's deserving of this life that I aspire towards? Am I deserving of these desires that I have within my life? And once we can get to an honest place where it's a yes, then it will become relatively easy, right? Again, for me, once I stepped into that and I was like, I'm a healthy individual and I built the belief system, which is, subject matters I get into, and you can request a specific question if you want, just like this one came from a very specific question of how to develop these type of belief systems, right? But I've made a multitude of videos and I will continue to make content throughout my entire life about, shifting our belief system, how to reprogram the subconscious mind, because that's a practice that I engage in every day of my entire life. That's what my life is built upon. Taking away the limiting beliefs and installing the most empowering beliefs. It's really that simple, right? So again, once I started building these belief systems that I was deserving, etc., and that I deserve to have this, vibrant, vital health and vitality and energy and vigor, and that I was this type of person. Once I built that belief system, it started to manifest in my activities. It first manifested emotionally. I could feel it. And then I started to act on it and move on it easier. As opposed to having conflicts in my beliefs and then trying to force my actions, and then it ricochets, because it will. Whatever your true belief system is always going to show in your body. So you can't fight it. It's like they say you can't outwork a bad diet, or you can't outrun a bad diet. You can't outwork a broken mentality or a limiting belief system. You have to work on the beliefs as you're then working on the physical aspect. So, and that's not to say, for right now, keep partying until you get your belief system together. Still do the actions, but make sure that you're prioritizing the internal, the intrinsic, the belief system, the subconscious conditioning that you have. So again, this is going to make it extremely simple and easy and straightforward for you. When you believe that you're deserving of this body that's full of vitality and health, your body is going to lead you in that direction. It's going to naturally want to get you to sleep earlier. It's going to naturally get you up as soon as your body's ready to get up. Now, for me, it's a little different because I opted out of the corporate plantation a while back, right? To dive into this full time. I took the quote unquote risk. I took the jump. I took the leap and threw myself completely into my purpose, into my vision, into my mission, and made the sacrifices of moving back in with my folks and giving up this beautiful apartment I had in the Bay Area, California, living my life, la vida loca, but I was miserable. So, I made that quote unquote sacrifice, which really wasn't a sacrifice. It was a pleasure for me to step out of that and to build what I had to build and to swallow my pride in the process. And within that, I then got to build out this channel. I got to build out different content channels. I, did consultation. I was like figuring my way out. Now I know exactly what my roadmap is. But again, it took me taking that step. So I'm not in the corporate plantation. So if you are still in that space, I will tell you that if you are devoting yourself to somebody else's schedule, then you will forever be running on their schedule. But you don't have to be ruled by it. Even if you have a 9 to 5, if you got to wake up at 7 in the morning, then I say you have to prioritize yourself in the morning. You have to prioritize yourself in the day. You have to wake up a little earlier, which means probably going to sleep earlier in order to get yourself into the state of meditation that you need to get into, or into that journaling, into that time by yourself, time in solitude, right? This thing right here, where is it at? I don't even know where my damn phone is. It's right here. This thing right here can be your best friend in a lot of different ways, as far as creation, as far as engaging, as far as watching this content like this. But it can also be your worst enemy when it comes to you going and finding a means to distract yourself. You going and finding a means to escape your own life. If you wake up in the morning and the first thing you're doing is hopping on that thing, forget about it. Your day's gone. You already gave your life to everything else. But if you can prioritize, again, yourself. So this is now getting into what my morning actually looks like. As soon as I roll over on that bed, I know I got messages waiting from Bay, but we understand. She understands and I understand. It's like we both prioritize ourselves first, and we're able to pour so much love into each other. We're able to give to each other in ways that are undescribable, really. She's filled with love within herself. I'm filled with love. And then we come together and we have a beautiful holy matrimony. But that's only possible because we are prioritizing self. And so in the morning, my body wakes me around 6:45-ish. That's been the cadence for the last like 6 months or so. Again, I don't do this forced 4 a.m., 5 a.m. club because I'm not here to impress nobody. If you go into the most successful people and they tell you 4 a.m., 5 a.m., it's not because they wake up at that time. A lot of them actually wake up early, like the old school guys, because a lot of old school cats used to wake up very early, 4 or 5 a.m. to work in the farms or whatever they did as kids, and that became a habit. That's not what made them or is making them successful. Mark Zuckerberg, I'm pretty sure, like wakes up 8:39 or something like that, right? There are a multitude who do, but they're just productive in their day. So anyway, starting my day off right after that necessary sleep, right? I wake up, I roll out, and I get into meditation. Now, I might sound like a nut to some. I live damn near like a monk in most people's eyes, but I get into deep, deep meditation, yo. I get into an hour, 11 minutes, and 11 seconds. Like that's my primo, right? There were times when I was doing maybe 30 minutes and then jumping out, but I like to do my hour. I like to take my morning. And meditation for me is not just something I do for productivity, this, that. It's a connection with self. Like it's an absolute vital aspect of my life. The reason I am the way that I am, folks, is because of my meditation practice. I'll be very real with you. I'm in tune with myself. I'm tapped all the way. I mean, there's, an infinitum to be tapped in, but I'm tapped in with myself. The reason I can sit here and just go the way I do continuously every single day, and it feels like breathing, it feels so natural, is because of the meditation. The reason why I can, write every single morning and make the music, do all these things that seem like I'm doing the most, it really isn't the most, because I'm grounded. I'm in a space where I am connected to my inner self. And I started my meditation practice seriously when I was still in corporate, and I would start waking up earlier and just doing meditation before jumping online and doing my, work from home, because this was during, the Rona days. And so I would get into meditation, and that's actually what led me to eventually quit the job. I became so tapped in with myself. I was like, this isn't where I want to be. This isn't what I want to be doing. This isn't the life for me. And I started, creating short form content then, et cetera. And my spirit was just leading me. So the way to tap in with yourself, you got to get yourself a meditation practice. A lot of us avoid it or think, oh, I can't meditate. There's no such thing. Nonsense. You've been told that meditation is 1,000 things. I sit in that comfy leather chair right there, and I just, I'm chilling. You're vibing with yourself. Call it vibing with you. Time with yourself. Spending time with you. That's all it is. Close my eyes wide so I can, shut out the external stimuli and focus inward. And that's it. If the thoughts go crazy and are, every time that, Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about this, and I love how he puts this, and it changed the way that I engage in meditation. He said, every single time that you overcome whatever it is, like a menial thought or the most extreme, a thought that says, oh, go and get breakfast right now, go and do this, go and do that, go jump on your phone. Ooh, you're probably missing out. Every time you let that be overrode, you're actually you're shifting or you're changing your internal mental structure. Like you're actually rewiring your brain to not be focused or going off of the whims of the body, but instead you're more connected to your true self or your spirit, as we may call it. And so, when you sit in meditation, whether it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever it may be, every single meditation session is going to make a drastic difference in your life. And I can only explain it in this way because you have to do it yourself to get it. It's like some experiences. If you've never taken a shower and I try to explain a shower to you, I could tell you the visceral experiences and the feelings, but it's not until you get in that shower that you'll know, oh, that's what he's talking about. So get yourself a meditative practice, anything simple, right? And I can do another video recommending different stuff, etc. But it's not about what it looks like. It's about the fact that it's a vehicle to just being with yourself. Some people meditate through journaling or they take walks or whatever it may be for themselves, but you have to disconnect and disconnect from the fake and reconnect with the real, which is you. So that's the first thing I do. And me, I like to get into creation because that's what I do. I'm a creator in this way. You, it may be something different. Maybe you want to get into, sipping your tea or whatever it is and taking your time into your day. And I know you're thinking to yourself, how is this the most productive morning if I'm just sitting there sipping tea? The most productive individuals are those who are at their own pace. You know what I mean? And this sounds crazy to some people, but I will literally have the quote unquote slow morning, as my girl calls it. I'll have the slow morning. And in that morning, I get more done than most people do in an entire 2 or 3 weeks in just one morning by noon. You understand me? I would have written 15 to 20 pages of a book. I would have recorded 3 long form videos and a short form piece of content that's going to go out to the people and hit 300,000 people in a week. Like, that's the type of life that I'm living. But again, it's all rooted in that pacing myself in a way that is most natural for me. I'm not, go, 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 go. Even small things as far as like how I eat. That's a huge aspect, obviously, of energy levels, etc. Now, contrary to popular belief, I'm not here to recommend anything, but I eat a lot of animal products. Some people may think that is crazy, that is unbelievable, but I do my research. I look into the science and I'm a body scientist. I was a vegan for over 4 years at a certain point in time. And now I'm damn near the exact opposite. And my body has rewarded me for eating readily available nutrient dense foods, right? So I can probably do a video at some point in time about that. I know diet is like the most offensive offensive thing to most people, but this way of living for the last 6 or 7 months has changed my entire life. It has changed my energy levels. Throughout the entire day, I have high energy. Throughout the entire day, I'm on and I'm ready to go. And actually, I switched over in this on quote unquote accident because I realized when I was eating these carbs in the morning or adding carbs, I would feel drawn down or I feel sluggish. I feel tired. But as soon as I cut the carbs in the morning, I was going, I was zooming. Now, if I fast in the morning, of course I'm zooming, right? That's the body's natural way of being. But when I would just cut carbs out, I would just, instead eat the eggs and eat the, some people, oh my goodness, but bacon, things of that nature, or just eat eggs and, a piece of steak, whatever it may be, just the eggs, I would be completely energized because my body is not doing all that taxing work of having to break the carbs down, which our bodies are not really suited for. If you get into the science, you'll start to see most of us just go off of quote unquote, traditional ways of viewing the world, which are handed to us by these corporations and companies that have an incentive to sell us these cheap food items like corn and, soya and all kinds of weird stuff, as opposed to what the body actually needs, which are those essential nutrients, right? And they're, but I can get into that at a different time. But the point here is, if all you did was go to sleep on time, right, or at a reasonable hour, give your body the necessary sleep that it needs. If you're working a night shift, maybe you're a nurse, I don't know, maybe you're driving a truck or something like that, you really have to start questioning, is this lifestyle for me? Or you reverse your day. So you still have to find some type of, structure or flow for yourself. Otherwise, your body's going to pay the consequences. You really have to ask yourself, what type of lifestyle do I want to live? Because your health is truly your wealth. And when you have health, then you can always get wealth. But if you ain't got health, you ain't always going to be able to get the wealth. You understand me? So if all you did was go to sleep at the right time, you woke up, pull up, drank, I'm playing. You wake up, you do a meditative practice, journaling, time in silence, whatever it may be. Just 15 minutes. You ain't got to get in an hour. You ain't got to be monk mode or whatever. Just 15 minutes in the morning. You understand me? Um, and if you eat something just protein based, just a few couple eggs, whatever it is. It, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. It literally could just be 2 eggs, 3 eggs, whatever, right? And see how your morning goes. If you can't stomach eggs, which I don't know many people who can't, but if you cannot, then eat whatever other protein source and see how your body starts to change, how your body composition also starts to change. My entire face like thinned out, my skin got clear, I started shining bright and stuff. A lot started happening just beyond my energy levels. But if you just did those 3 things and that was your morning, you would have the perfect morning, I promise you. And you continue to do that on sequence and it starts to compound, your life would change overnight because it does matter how we wake up, just like it matters how we go to sleep. By the way, some pointers on how to go to sleep. I might make an entire video actually about just this subject. Yeah, I'm gonna make sure to make a video about that. But if you simply shift how you go to sleep, right? The things that you allow into your subconscious mind before you go to sleep, the things you digest, the things that you feed yourself, if you change that in your mornings, your entire life would change on autopilot. I promise you. It's miraculous what happens when you start to be intentional about your life in that way. So that being said, quick plug of my first published book, Doing Me Guilt Free, Breaking Free from People Pleasing and Unleashing Your True Personal Power. Make sure to get yourself a copy of one of these immediately by clicking the link in the description. This is going to be a lifetime companion for you. I guarantee it. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Till the next time, namaste. I must go.